I like to say that TMJ is a game of mastering misinformation. And the reason for that is there are so many opinions out there from doctors and experts and gurus and other patients. And, some person says that this is absolutely wrong. And then another five people say that no, it worked for them. You don't know what to do, right? You don't know who's right. Who do you listen to? It's kind of a puzzle. Because it's like a puzzle, is the reason why I was in this game figuring this stuff out for 10 years. Whereas I had more or less figured out what the right solution was when I was just a year and a half, 2 years into the journey. So I'd stumbled on it and then kind of second guessed myself and went and did many more circles in the following, 7 or 8 years when I really didn't have to. I feel like I have the truth for folks and that there's a lot of logical backing, right? And there's a lot of people doing Revive now, getting results. And honestly, like I still don't know of one that can say that it did not work for them, honestly. But when I try to post or tell this story in, for example, a Facebook group or a TMJ subreddit, I get so much pushback, right? Like because I'm going against their belief system. And their belief system of a lot of these patients is they spent years and it's this massive puzzle and that it could not possibly be so simple. And then you have people that use the rubber mouth guard and their story is often, oh, I used it and it didn't work. And when I double click on these folks, you hear things like, oh, like I started to feel a lot of pain or my teeth shifted or my jaw went into a worse position, right? And you ask them, what is a worse position? And it's like, they don't know what they're talking about, in my honest opinion. You're like, I'm now following a lot of people, hundreds of people going through the process. It is all more or less the same pattern. And when these people, I have not seen a single exception where it does not fall more or less into the same pattern. So, these people that are on these Facebook groups and subreddits are saying, no, it's not wrong. Like, it doesn't work. Like, okay, well, I'm following a few hundred people and they're saying that they're the exception that I haven't seen in a few hundred people yet. And I find that hard to believe because at the end of the day, what I'm seeing is that the rules, which are things that I talk about, like Curvis B, are very simple. I kind of almost give up on posting on some of these forums because I get so much pushback from these folks. Like they say that they're looking for an answer, but then they're kind of like closing their minds to something that is working for a lot of people. Yeah, it's an unfortunate, but it's because there's so much misinformation in this game. It goes against a lot of other patterns in life. I'll put it like that. When you have to have surgery, most people would go and they would try to find the absolute best surgeon, right? The person that's graduated from a good school, has a lot of recommendations, has a lot of experience, and that would typically be the right decision. That doesn't really work in this TMJ realm. Like, I don't know who those TMJ dentists are who are really good in getting consistent results. Rather, I know a lot of very experienced TMJ dentists who I think are screwing people up and have the wrong ideas in their head. If you were to apply the same rules that typically work in other realms in TMJ, there is a very high likelihood that you will be screwed, unfortunately. When I think about my journey, I took the same approach in 14. Like, I looked for the best dentist that I had access to. I was willing to travel. I was willing to spend money. And I did that for a while. And I went in circles. And I even got worse. And then at some point, I started DIYing. I became more and more of the philosophy that, okay, I'm going to learn how this works by myself because the experts out there don't seem to fully understand it. Dentists in this realm tend to position themselves as these experts, kind of. If you try to do something yourself, like you're, a neophyte and you're just going to mess yourself up. And luckily, I had enough confidence in myself from life that I'm a pretty logical, smart dude. And, when I saw these dentists who I would talk with them and they didn't really impress me from an intelligence standpoint. And then when they took this attitude, it kind of bounced off me. Like I just looked at them as people and like, no, I don't think you're that smart. And I trust my own judgment on this. That is probably why I was able to eventually figure this out through a lot of iteration and experimentation because I just didn't take their word for anything. Right. I didn't like buy their expertise. And I almost think you need that level of skepticism, unfortunately, in TMJ. My advice to beat this game is, even me, don't listen to me, right? Like, take me as just another person with an opinion. But then apply your own logic. Like, write down what is it that you believe? How are you going to test things logically, right? And then go and try some of the things I'm saying, right? Try a rubber appliance and see what happens. Does it follow the same pattern that I'm talking about? Are you going to create a bit of a curve of spay or an open bind? And that approach of, having an opinion, applying logic, testing theories, that is how you get out of this maze, in my experience. Good luck with that. I hope you do take some of that advice to heart, and that I hope I see you at the end of the tunnel.